What's that Zoom?
What?
What was that red thing? Oh,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
I'm gonna do this so I can hear. Because I'm gonna go get food. I did say I was hungry. I meant that.
Go eat, get some food.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Regis, Reeves, good to see you, my brother. This mic is all yours.
Well, thank you. Little impromptu uh jibber jabber here. But as Zuma was talking about peace, she reminded me of when I was in New Orleans teaching, and it was like a pre-K group of kids, and we were just having our day in this open classroom area, a big room, and uh, I wasn't instructing at the time. The kids were just having a good time, running, jumping, screaming, flipping, whatever kids do. And so this teacher walked over to me and she said, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." Why? Why are you asking? She like, "Well, you just sitting here and you just sitting here so peaceful and calmly." Uh, I'm like, "Yeah. Well, don't you see these kids? They are just going crazy. They're all over the place." I'm like, "They're just being kids." I'm like, "That doesn't upset me." You but so is as Zuma was saying, the peace
No
that
sound.
passes all understanding is within, is not controlling our outside circumstances. And I see Sharon's hand up, and go for it,
I,
Sharon.
I just want, hi, Regis. It's so good to see you. I wanted to know, you substitute teaching now?
Yes.
So am I. So I don't know if you're doing all ages. I do all ages, different schools, different times, but it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I do all ages, but I am selective. I do have I do have my preferences. Um, I think yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. It's fun. One day this week I just got so many hugs. The kids was just walking up to me hugging me. I was like, I'm like, thank you. I need that. Thank you. It's like, and so it's definitely uh a rewarding experience on a whole different level. And I already have these kids, and it gets kind of tricky because they walk up and start telling me what's going on at home, and they start telling me, they got real stuff going on at
I
home.
was going to
So
say,
that's all I'm gonna say.
Regis, can you
Yeah.
hear me? Because Zuma can't hear. She said, I
Oh,
can't hear anything. Oh,
who
then
can't
maybe her
hear?
sound is off.
Oh, is that what's in the chat? Well, I hear Sharon and Sharon hears me.
Yeah.
So Lynn says I can't hear anything. Uh, I don't know what to say about that. Uh, but Sharon, you and I hear each other, right?
What's that?
You and I hear
I,
each other, right?
I hear you perfect. Yeah. Sometimes I
Okay.
don't because of my computer. So I think it's
Yeah.
Zoom's computer. That's what it is, probably, because she's been
Yeah.
having trouble.
Maybe so. But yeah, yeah, I am substitute teaching, and it's just a interesting journey. Um, and so it's like I went into one class. It was like it wasn't a day where I started the day with the class. It was like a midday, um, where sometimes the teachers may have a doctor's appointment or something later during their day, and they just want a substitute for a few hours. I don't know if they do that in all states or cities, but they do it here just like it's a regular job. Well, I need 2 hours to go do this, and I'll be back. And so I do a lot of assignments like that. It's my choice. You pick what you want to pick here. And so I might like I got a 1.5 hour assignment today at 2:30 to 4, just 2:30 to 4. And I do those type of assignments as well. And a lot of times the teacher is still there when I get there. And they have a whole different method of managing their classroom. And they do what they think they have to do. They do. It's interesting. People just keep passing on how they was raised to the next generation, whether that was good practices or bad practices. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, well, they just doing what they've always done. That's just their default. And so they'll be screaming at the kids. I mean, just yelling at the top of their lungs, sit down, be quiet, la, 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 la. And in my mind, on one occasion, this guy, uh, so they were passing class. So I came in, nobody was in the classroom. So the next group of students were coming in, and he just started yelling and screaming, and just right out the gate, it's like, hmm. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, sir, will you please leave? Will you just go on and go to your appointment? I got this, because this is not the way I'm going to talk to these students. This is not the way I'm going to handle these students. Uh, so just go. That's what I was saying in my mind. Just go. It's going to be fine. And of course, it always is. I've never had to call the principal's office or call for help because, uh, the everybody was out of control. And it's it's just interesting that people don't trust love, that they don't trust kindness, that they really believe, as Lynn talking about the political climate, and as Gloria said, the political climate, or whatever we're watching, the war in the Middle East or wherever, it's just showing us the war that we have within. It's got to manifest in some way, and when we can just look at these things and just see, this is just a reflection. Don't We don't have to be so surprised and so taken back, and everybody that used to listen to me know one of my defaults, and no matter what I'm talking about, I may stop in the midst of it and say, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's not my surroundings, my environment that need my prayer, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Uh, and the prayer is to see. Above all else, I want to see. So as I was telling that story about back in New Orleans, and uh, not having to control the environment to have peace. Am I that way in every situation, every day, in every way? No. And as I was thinking about that this morning while Zuma was talking, I said, well, yeah, in that moment, I said, well, they're just kids being kids. Um, and then I thought about uh, something I've said to myself over and over that wasn't a good thing to say. And that is, uh, I hate for adults to act like children. So that's resistance. And so as I was thinking that this morning while Zuma was talking about peace, I said, can I be at peace with adults acting like children? Of course I can. So just in this day, in this moment, it's no longer going to upset me when, when grown folks act like kids, in my opinion, in my judgment. So even if uh, it's a situation where I'm like, well, shouldn't we be being a little bit more mature than this? And so, therefore, uh, uh, Donald Trump or anyone else that we judge as immature and not fit. Well, can I be okay with a president not fit to be president? Yeah, I can be okay with it. you know, uh, I'm safe. I'm so thankful. I told a group yesterday. Yeah, I was telling them, and I got a lot of feedback. As Gloria was saying, she got a lot of feedback. I'm like, I got a lot of feedback. Uh, as I was saying that my birthday lesson is just such an anchor because it's really steeped in just being safe. I'm safe. All of our stress and anxiety, if I'm angry or stressed out at my wife, it's because I don't feel safe. Something that I'm watching her do or listening to her say is, as Zuma used the word today, unnerving me. But it's my thoughts about what she's saying or doing that's unnerving me. It's not what she's doing, it's my thoughts about it. And my birthday lesson, lesson 235, it says not only am I saved, SAVED, it says I'm saved and I'm safe, SAFE. And I just think, if you listen to me right now, make this a practice as many times as you can think about it and remember it today. Uh, just say, I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. Every time you drive down the street and see a Trump sign, just say, I'm safe. Let that trigger you to say, I'm safe. Or if you're on the other side, every time you see a Harris sign, I'm safe. I'm safe. And so much of the political campaign is just exploiting the fears that are already there. And it's not the fear of a particular thing, it's just that people don't feel safe. So, what the manipulators and the exploiters do, they pick out something for you to attach that fear to, that feeling of I'm not safe. Sometimes we don't feel safe, don't even know why. We don't feel safe. So now you got somebody who says, oh, I know how to manipulate people's fear. So they say, be afraid of this, be severely afraid of this. And they keep tapping at it, tapping at it, tapping at it. And people buy into it when it's not even a problem. Look at Karen Parente popping in here. Uh, see, Karen. So it's just learning and remembering. Sometimes we overcomplicate it. Uh, and my wife and I in Zoom, I don't know if you're still listening, but we've been doing atomic habits. And uh, we've really been talking about stop discrediting small things. We want big, boomy things, big in therapy or counseling, they got a term they call grand gestures. We like big grand gestures of, but it's the little in the Proverbs in the Old Testament or the Bible, it says it's the little foxes that destroy the vine. And so we want big revelations. I'm saying all to say we keep looking for big revelations, uh, big gigantic words, groups of words that we've never heard before to wow us and like, oh yeah, this is my ticket to peace. This is my ticket. Just I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. When my wife is having a temper tantrum of fear, uh, I don't have to be intimidated by it. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. And I just think about all the triggers of being in this body. When we think about peace, this body, all the things that we're pointing at, saying, this is stealing my peace, this is causing me not to have peace, this is causing me stress. I don't know if anybody listening to me or watching me ever get this still or have this level of stillness, but the body itself is chaos. The body itself is not peaceful. If you really get quiet and get still, all these circuitries, the blood that's flowing through our body, all this activity just going on in the body, you can like, wow, the body is noisy. You start feeling your skin and you feel stuff in your feet. The body is busy. It's a distraction itself, you know. And I say that, and I said this yesterday. We don't go throwing ourselves over a cliff because the body is a distraction. It's not a sin to be in this body. Uh, so we don't have to make so much over the other things that distract us, like a noisy classroom or uh, whatever these other noisy activities. We still choosing as we did. We're in Western world. we are all affected probably on some level by Western religion, which is a body-based religion, Christianity. Bodies sinning, bodies doing right, bodies doing wrong, bodies behaving right, bodies behaving wrong. So uh, we have that challenge uh, of picking little sins and big sins, you know, and we get carried away with, oh, well, this thing, I shouldn't be allowing that, or that thing, I shouldn't be allowing that. Well, you're allowing your body. You're not throwing your body off the roof to kill it so that you could be back in the presence of God. So it's like Shakespeare is much to do about nothing. And we, as Gloria said, we have to learn to be gentle. We have to learn to stop judging every cotton picking thing that that pops up. And like I told him yesterday, it's not, Zuma started out talking about money. And I said yesterday, I said, I can desire to have a nun living next door to me versus a frat house. It's my preference to have a nice, quiet neighbor. You know, I don't have to put myself in the worst possible scenario to prove that I'm spiritual. That's the same as saying, like Jim Jones, I'm gonna drink poison to prove that I'm not a body and that my body doesn't matter. That's insanity. And Karen has her hand up. Go for it, my Karen.
Hi, can you hear me? Oh, good. I'm driving. I'm driving home. I just want to say, first of all, Regis, it's so good to hear you. Number one. Number two, I'm loving everything you're sharing with us. And what came to me when you were sharing about the little kids, the little kids being kids, and then the adults, being kids. And so what came to me is that, like, can we just see everything the same, and that there is no hierarchy of illusion and there is no order of difficulty? And you said something about why are we so afraid of love? And I think that's what you said. Well, it really does come down to that we're just afraid of love. And that's the only problem there is, that I must have decided wrongly. I chose not to love. I'm fearing love right now, and I feel like I'm a sense of separation from God. That's the only problem. I'm in fear. And so everything you said I can relate to, and I'm with Glorian, and that is my motto, is it's gentleness, it's gentleness, it's gentleness. And we when we're gentle with ourselves, we're gentle with others. And just everything you're sharing is so relatable, as you always are. And I'm just enjoying listening to you. And I just wanted to give a shout out. Love you, brother. Back on the road.
Thank you, Karen. We're glad that you was able to pop in. What a pleasant surprise. We wasn't expecting to have you live today. Lynn was all prepared to play a recording, I think, of you. So she asked me if I would do an impromptu. But as you were saying, being gentle, it reminded me one of my catchphrases way back in the festive Friday days when we were in ACIM gather, and we gathered on Friday night, and it was such a fun time and such a nice size gathering. But one of my Holy Spirit catchphrases that came to me back then was, when I let myself off the hook, I began to let everyone else off the hook. When I learn to be gentle with myself, uh, I'll be gentle in this world as I experience it, as I see, as Zuma was showing us a couple of passages from ACIM Gather about our brother and how we see our brother and what our brother is here for, and choose. What I loved about what Zuma was showing in that particular passage, I have it up right here, is that we act as though it's not a choosing. We kind of think, oh, I just feel this way. Just, it's just how I feel. It's just how I think. It's just I can't help it. But the Course in Miracles is saying we can help it. The Course in Miracles is saying, dream of your brother's kindnesses instead of dwelling in your dreams, instead of dwelling in your dreams on his mistakes. So we act like I am a victim. We don't realize my wife hear me quote so often, I'm not a victim of the world I see, but it's so many other ways we think I'm a victim of my thought system. I'm a victim of my emotions. No, we can choose what we're dwelling on. We're not out of control. We can help it. I can't help it. Yes, you can help it. If we couldn't help it, the Holy Spirit wouldn't tell us and advise us to do something that we don't have the power to do. That's just not uh that's not a God thought. To think that God is asking something of you that you cannot do is not a godly thought. That's not the Holy Spirit in your ear. That's not the Holy Spirit in your head. That's We have to know and understand the nature of God and to what God would like a friend of mine used to say back in our church days. He said, why would God make a dog to bark and then call it sin? You know, why, that's not the nature of love. That's not the nature. So if you have a problem with me saying God, that's not the nature of love. That's not the nature of a divine universe. It's all encompassing. And so uh, if the course, which is just a voice of the Holy Spirit, is telling me to dream of my wife's kindnesses, don't dwell on her mistakes. I can do that. Yes, I can. That's just all it is to it. I can do that. If I can dream, and I said this, you all heard me say it. Karen was here when I was saying it some months and months back. Uh, that when I just think of Donald Trump as a father, a grandfather, a brother, a son, and I think about his wife, his youngest child, who may be a freshman in college now or something now. But these people that he held when they were babies, his kids, that he bounced, he held them up in the air. Uh, when I think that he's had all of these experiences and that we wonder how could anybody love that man? You know? I mean, that's what our ego thought system would try to impose on us at times, maybe. But when I think of his kindnesses, when I think of all the reasons some of the people in his life probably love him, we just think, oh, it's just because of his money. If he wasn't rich, that's just ego out of control. Going to see that's giving us another excuse not to think of his kindnesses, not to think of his love, his humanity, uh, to uh, this ego thought system is like I said, it's like a solar system. It fuels itself. And if one thought don't work, I used to say this all the time, it's just throwing stuff up against the wall of our mind to see what sticks. It really don't care what sticks. Like I said, uh, I've had this again in the last week or so. I said one time they had the um now they used to have these little steps if you getting into a place where you're not mobile and you live in a two-story house. So they got the little bucket that you can get in and take you up your steps. Well, now they got elevators. So now they're selling seniors elevators. We can put an elevator in your two-story house to help you get upstairs to your bedroom or whatever. So we are watching the senior. I'm laying in bed, turn on the TV, and they got the elevator commercial on for the seniors that's having mobility issues. And you don't have to be a senior to have a mobility issue. but that's how they promote it. But so I saw the elevator, and then I thought, oh, Prince had an elevator in his house. He died in his elevator. He got on the elevator to go to one floor, and I said it. He woke up in glory. He when the elevator opened, he was in heaven. He thought he was just going to the next floor. And so, but with that thought, um, the initial thought was just from that triggers, the ego thought system is just throwing stuff up against the wall to see what stick. So here's an innocent elevator commercial that's saying we want to help you, we want to make your life easier. And I think, oh, Prince died in his elevator. And then a panic and a fear just came over me in just a few seconds. Oh shucks, you can just die anytime. This dude was just getting in an elevator, thought he was going to the next floor, and he died. It could happen to me that way. You know, it's you know, is this the last time I told Tracy I love you? you know, I'm just going to the bathroom. Will I come out? you know, it's so it's just throwing stuff up against the wall to see what sticks, and it absolutely doesn't care. We think it's we don't we think it's more designed. It's really very random. It's just a thing to say you're not safe. You can't trust love. You can't trust the God that you are. Go ahead, Karen. I see your hand.
Thanks, Regis. I love that I'm safe. I love that. I just said that this girl almost cut me off, and I just said I'm safe to myself. Literally, almost hit me while cutting me off. Um, and of course, I judged her because I looked to see who it was, what it was, guy, girl, whatever, and it was this really, really young girl on her cell phone. So yeah, I definitely judged her. I got to admit. Okay, so I love what you're saying here because it reminds me of how the ego speaks first and loudest. You know, when we're talking about the elevator, and I thought the same thing, Regis. I thought the exact same thing about Prince. Honest to God, I did. And I remember Marianne Williamson sharing this. I think it was in the Return to Love. She said, you may do 10 good things today or someone else may do 10 good things today, but you will focus on that one negative thing they did. That's what you will point out. You point out that one negative thing, and that's what the ego does. And the ego just thrives on that. So it's really, and it's the meaning that we put on things. It's the meaning that we put on the elevator. It's the meaning that I put on the girl who just cut me off. And can I see that all things are just neutral, that there is nothing, it's just like a blank canvas until I put my meaning on it. Can I see that? No, not all the time, but I do have an opportunity for forgiveness here. There is an opportunity to see another way. And I'm just loving listening to you. I just wanted to share that. Thanks.
Thanks, Karen. And our resident comedian for the day, Lynn Johnson, she put in the chat, Elvis died on the toilet. Yeah, I forgot about that. But one of my neighbors, when I was a kid growing up, died on the toilet. And uh, uh, our houses were all close together. And, we was just, just a real community back in that day. And one of my other neighbors that used to cut my hair as a kid, he had to go over there and help his family or his wife, uh, get him out of there. So uh, so we have these things uh, that that that's just triggers, triggers, and we can let them go, let them go, let them go. We can acknowledge them. We don't rush them out. What I do like about uh, what Zuma was sharing, and I'm pulling it back up. Uh, it says, so she started out, what is your brother for? You do not know because your function is obscure to you, because your function is obscure to you. So talking about your brother, so how can I know my brother if I don't know myself? And that ties me right back into when I learned to let myself off the hook. When I learned to be gentle with myself, I began to let everyone else off the hook. Dream of your brother's kindnesses instead of dwelling in your dreams on his mistakes. Select his thoughtfulness to dream about instead of counting up the hurts he gave you. Forgive him his illusions and give thanks to him for all the helpfulness he gave. And do not brush aside his many gifts because he is not perfect in your dreams. Do not brush off his many gifts because he's not perfect in the dream that I made up. And that is so powerful. So, yes, we can. I'm not a victim of my thoughts. I can choose my thoughts. I can say, Holy Spirit, help me. And the Holy Spirit will. In its numerous ways, based on my background and your background and my makeup and your makeup, Holy Spirit will help. I can choose and I can ask for help if I need help with that choice. I can seek help if I need help with that choice. But we can. We're not a victim. Uh, and I think somebody, uh, yeah, Lynn, I have right after 236, 235, the workbook for students, there is lesson 236. I have a kingdom that I must rule. I am his ruler. The kingdom is wanting leadership. My kingdom is wanting, where's my leader? The inmates are running the asylum, you know, and that's the ego in all of his thoughts. In the kingdom, it says, where's our ruler? Where's our king? You know, lead us, lead us into happiness, lead us into peace, lead us into gratitude, lead us into joy, because it's saying right here, think you choose to think of the kindnesses, you choose to see the love, you choose to see uh, the good, you choose. And I believe Zuma tapped in on this too. One of the things, no, it wasn't Zuma, but we're all the same. So yes, it was. When we focus on the problem, we block the solution. And the solutions can be so simple and so right in front of our face that when we do release and let go and we see them, we're like, wow, I can't believe I missed it. I can't believe uh, how simple that was. And we condition, we are, it's a habit. It's not a character flaw. Uh, it's a habit. It's just a habit that this is how I feel safe. This is some twisted way that I feel more in control. I really don't feel safe, but I feel more control within the chaos if I can just point out all the wrong, all the flaws. Even though there's a part of me that realized that or think that I, I am a victim of the world I see. I am not safe. And, I've been hearing a lot of course students lately. When I do peep in and pop in, I've been hearing a lot of course students, and yeah, bad course students. I'm judging you. um, I've been hearing a lot of course students saying stuff like, "The world is going crazy. The world is dangerous. The world is," and do anybody remember when I used to play "The World is a Safe Place and I'm gonna be happy, let's be happy"? So I'm thinking while I'm hearing this, hmm, I wonder how they feel about that song now. Because we seem to have gotten caught up in the whirlwind. We seem to have uh, temporarily uh, lost our anchor or our uh, feeling of safety. Uh, uh, that's what, uh, not saying I'm for or against Donald Trump, but just the example that he presents in terms of how the ego just keeps knocking at the door that you're not safe. Like Karen says, she just got cut off in traffic, and it just in a matter of a few minutes from me saying we got to learn to say I'm safe as much because everything is just knocking at the door when you turn on the TV. I told my wife a couple of days ago, I'm like, maybe I should fast from local TV until after the political season and just watch streaming stuff that I can control. Uh, See, we so quick to go to, oh, it's not real. you know, well, again, we don't have to put ourselves in the worst possible scenario to prove that we're spiritual. I can just like that's upsetting. I don't have to keep putting that in front of me to prove that I can not let that bother me. Like, why don't I just remove that? you know, uh, like I said, I'm not. We can have desire and preference. I don't want to live next to a frat house. I don't want to live next I don't want neighbors that have parties and loud music into the wee hours of the morning. you know, I want the neighbors. I want neighbors with no kids. Somebody was mentioning to me and Tracy this past Sunday, would you all be interested in a 55 plus neighborhood? I'm like, yeah, I sure would. I don't have any ego about being old or getting old or not being old. I don't want people to think I'm old. Give me the 55 plus neighborhood. yeah, I'm all for that. So we don't have to uh help the ego thought system challenge us. Some of us uh, almost uh, make it a spiritual practice to see how much pain and suffering we can take and still be spiritual and peaceful. It's like, no, remove it, take it away. I got a headache. I'm going to the medicine cabinet. I'm taking an aspirin. You might not like aspirin. I do. Remove the distraction. Uh, but, and there's the but, I'm not dependent or codependent on that. And even if the headache doesn't go away, many times my wife would say, I thought you said whatever ailment I said was popping up. I thought you said, I'm like, yeah. And many people, they'll be like, well, you don't act like it. Well, I was just stating like Eckhart Tolle says, you're not being negative or you're not complaining if you say, hey, the kitchen's on fire. Does anyone has a fire extinguisher? That's not being negative. I see Gloria's hand up. Take it away, Gloria.
Hey, glad that you're here today with us, Regis. Loving it. I just wanted to say that the only protection that we need, it's just very simple. The only protection that we need is from the ego mind, is from the carnal mind, from the thinking. And we could take a rest from that anytime we want, move into that quiet space and meditate and just be still. Be still and know that I am. Thank you.
In fact, that's the only time you know that you're God in the stillness. That's you. If we find a way, and we have all these, now presence. Being presence, being present is been the buzzword now for a few years because now it's moving into what we call the secular life, where everybody is realizing that we got to have some stillness. We have to find the stillness. We have to, in all of the chaos, in all of the activity, uh, we have to find the stillness. That's why it doesn't matter if you're at home alone with all the many blinds closed and the TV is off, and you close yourself off from everything that you can close yourself off from. Uh, you still have the same challenge. You'll still find yourself uh, uh, it'll still be noisy if we don't learn to find the quiet. Uh, it'll still be noisy. That's why, by Zuma, that's why in the opposite, so many people keep the TV on all day. They have to have external noise because all the noise in my head is driving me bananas, and I haven't been able to stop that noise. And so uh, so many Americans go to sleep with the TV on. They still because uh, I haven't been able to find that quiet place from within. Uh, Dr. David Hawkins, I credit for having the most powerful influence and impact on me regarding my thought life, because uh, I was at a point when I was first stumbled upon David Hawkins where I was literally going to doctors saying, I can't stop my thoughts. You need to give me a pill, give me something. I just can't stop my thoughts. Uh, and I got to be able to slow down my thoughts. I need help, you know. Um, and of course, they're willing to help. I've been very fortunate that I have no method. I have the simplest method of choosing physicians. I don't ask friends or family who they see. I don't get references. I just choose a doctor by their convenience to me, whether that's geographically or whatever. It's like, if it's easy, like, of course, Regis, I believe in easy, and I've been that way for a long time. So if they're easy, if they have easy access, easy for me to get to, okay, you're my doctor. And I've been so fortunate that when I needed physicians or wanted physicians, uh, that they've just been high on integrity. They don't want to pump me with pills. Like, I know other people, their doctors just get them pills. They just pass them out like they passing out Skittles. Oh, I just go to my doctor, and my doctors, they have the highest integrity and willingness uh, for a patient to self heal, and they don't get in resistance to homeopathic methods or meditation or anything. And even if I'm asking them for a pill, they try not to give it to me. I'm like, do you think I have a drug history? Why are you resisting me? I'm asking. They don't even want to give it to me. And so uh, it's been very interesting, and it's been all God. It's been all good. But at that time when I ran across Dr. David Hawkins, and he really just, in his choice of words and the way he put them together, I just got the aha. I don't have to take the thoughts so seriously. I don't even have to try to force them to go away. I just don't have to listen to them. You know, I can let them say what they say. It's okay to stop them when you can stop them. It's okay to go into that very, very quiet place where I am God. But I don't have to be overwhelmed by thoughts. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean I have to do anything about it. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. If it's what I judge as a bad thought, or a hateful thought, or a revengeful thought, or a judgmental thought, I'm judging the judgmental thought. I'm just, and so uh, I don't have to get in resistance to it or in conflict with it. And I rest in what the Course of Miracles says. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. And as I shared this on Wednesday, uh, we're uh, we're all have some minor influence in Western religion. And when we think of holiness, we have to make sure that when we so easily run through that Course in Miracles lesson, there is nothing my holiness can't do, uh, that we don't think in terms of Christianity. The Christian definition of holiness is about bodies behaving right, bodies doing right. It's not so much as that, but it is, I'm holy because my creator is holy. It is who I am. It's not what I am. It's not what I do. So when we say in A Course in Miracles groups, there is nothing my holiness cannot do, it's not talking about there is nothing my behavior in me living right cannot do. It's talking about the fact that I am God's beloved child in whom she is well pleased. The end. We think about the prodigal son, and even when he left his father's house, he was still his father's son. Even when he was spending up all his money and lost it all, he was still his father's son. Because he was not living in that truth doesn't mean it wasn't true. And that's the real miracle. We talk about, see, in Christianity, it's all about bodies doing right, bodies doing wrong. So we just want to say, oh, look at the love of the forgiving father that just accepted him back. The father wasn't accepting him back. That's a misinterpretation, even from a biblical Christian point of view. The father was saying there's nothing to forgive. You 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 was my son when you left. You was my son while you were gone. You were my son as you began to head back towards home. You know, there's you cannot not be my son. So there is nothing my holiness cannot do. I mean, my status, and I always like to poke at Eckhart Tolle because I love to hear he says status. My status. He don't say status, and he knows that he makes that difference. Uh, but there is nothing that my status cannot do because I am God, the child of God. God produces God. Cats produces cats. Dogs produce God. Dogs produce dogs. Humans produce humans. And God produces God. And that's why I'm safe. Is there's nothing my holiness cannot do. The I am that I am. There is nothing that my holiness cannot do. It's not arrogance. It's not some pseudo piped up confidence. When I say I believe in easy, when I say everybody loves Regis, uh, uh, when I say I'm safe, I'm not safe because of I eat right and I'm healthy and I got good blood pressure or whatever. I'm not safe uh, because I think I have some control over uh, how long this body is going to be functionable as a body. Because we know that that's just false security. I'm not safe because of uh, how I'm able to position myself financially, or something my wife and I've been talking about is about uh, love. And I'm not safe because of my connections and who I call friend or who I call family. And so my security and my trust is really not in the source that I am. It's really in that, oh, I got good connections. I know if I ever get in trouble, this person will help me. I know if I ever need a friend, Lynn will be a friend. I know if I ever, you fill in the blank, uh, I got this money in the bank, or I got this friend, I got this network of friends that'll come to my rescue. But there is nothing my holiness cannot do. My holiness is my wholeness. My holiness is my completeness. And we look over at when they were bombing these other countries, and they were uh, uh, they wasn't fighting fair. Uh, uh, they were bombing hospitals and residential areas, and people were running for their lives. And oh, well, what if that happened in America? I'm safe. I was telling my wife, we talk about grief. That's a lot of what we call grief or sympathy. Uh, I said it's really just a reaction, like we was talking about the elevator, and oh, Prince died in the elevator. People die, and we think, oh, it could happen to me. I could die. And we're all depending on who the person is and what they meant to us, and we lose it. We just lose it, and we say, oh, I'm grieving. No, I'm in a panic. Let's get real. you know Often, not every case, there's a such thing as grief, real grief, but a lot of times we just panic. We panic. Oh, Princess Diana, she just died in a fiery car crash, and everybody's in a panic. It's not grief. Oh wow, if it could happen to the princess, am I safe? you know you know if it could happen to you, oh, then that I must really be vulnerable. you know this shouldn't happen to queens and princesses. you know so I'm in a panic, and I'm really in a panic over uh this false idea of who the body is and what the body is, and what I'm in control of. And now something happens, and it threatens my system of control. No matter what I do, no matter uh, what I do in this body as a person, how I try to fortify myself, uh, there is something that can come up and threaten that. So if I don't find my safety in my holiness, my true holiness, not my behavior, the prodigal son behavior may have been judged as sinful and wrong as he parted. He was partying, uh, and uh, I guess drinking. I think it was saying that uh, engaged with prostitutes and just having a good old time out there, painting the town red. He was still his father's son. And when he lost it all and was sleeping outside with the pigs and the hogs and wherever he could find a place to lay down, he was still his father's son. And there was nothing that his sonship could not do. All he had to do was remember, and remember, and that's the the other essence of my lesson 235. I need but remember. I need but look upon anything that seems to hurt me and remember God wills that I be saved from this. I need but remember that God's will for me is happiness, for happiness to come. Anything that seems to cause me unhappiness, I need but remember God's will for me is happiness. God only wants happiness for me, for happiness to come. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to move anything. I don't have to change anything. I don't have to ask anyone to behave a certain way. I don't have to have any circumstance. If my body is sick, it can stay sick, and I'll be happy sick. I'll be happy in pain. I'll find that happiness just shows up. We may have seen someone else in this circumstance or been in this circumstance ourselves where a person may be in some type of pain. It may be intestinal pain or whatever. And a happy guy like me comes in cracking jokes and they say, stop, don't make me laugh. It hurts when I laugh. Don't make me laugh, Regis. Or you may be saying to someone else, don't make me laugh. Because whether the pain is there or not, happiness is available. Peace is available. Joy is available. Gratitude is available. And all I need to do is just remember that God wants me to be perfectly happy. I don't need to do anything but just remember that. We really need to get that. There is nothing to do other than the doing of remembering. I just need to remember that God wills. So whatever it is, I don't have to say it's not real. I don't have to try to do this spiritual bypassing. In fact, that's the wrong way and I did say yes, the wrong way, you know, to go about it. You know, just know that God, if it's fearful, if it's frightening, if it's disarming, unnerving, just know that God wills that I be saved from this. And remember that God wills that I be happy. And take a breath and say, I'm safe. I am safe. I am safe. My wife and I were talking the other day about uh, how our parents raised us. And I was talking about the things that my grandmother said to me. And I was a kid, but now they wouldn't tell me, Regis, we live in a dangerous world. People will not like you or judge you because of the color of your skin, and you could say something the wrong way or react the wrong way, and they'll kill you. They'll put you in jail and they'll lock you up for almost the rest of your life. So be careful out there. No, they didn't say those things to me. But my grandmother would just, I would maybe say something. I don't know if I would maybe uh, say something kind of sassy, in the house with my family, not out in the streets with the world, but in my house or within the safety of my home. And she would just go into preach mode and bop, 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 and don't do this. And or she would confront me or ask me a question, and I'd drop my head and she would be like, hold your head up. Look people in the eye when they talk to you. If you don't look people in the eye, if you drop your head when someone asks you a question, they'll think you're lying. And all these things that they would be saying, I'm like, what is, as a kid, you're thinking, I don't have the vocabulary I have now, but in so many words, you're just thinking like, what is going on? What is happening right now? Why is she saying this stuff to me with the tone and attitude that she's saying? And I didn't realize it until the movie The Help came out. So when the movie The Help came out around 2000, 10, 11, somewhere in there, I believe. So I'm a grown man, way up in age at that point, and they had a scene where the African American lady was telling her African American daughter who was going out into the world to work for the first time, all these things. I'm like, my grandmother said all those things to me. So what she was doing was trying to keep me alive. In her mind, she was trying to keep me alive. She was trying to make sure that I didn't go out there and become an Emmett Till story and say the wrong thing at the wrong time. Not really being bad or ugly, but just being out in a world where they didn't think we were equals, as Dove teaches us. And as someone said just a few moments ago, equality, Karen mentioned, that we're all equal, it's all the same, that you're going out. So I'm like, oh, so that's what all that was about. They was trying to keep me safe. They were trying to manufacture uh, a level of safety. And they thought that by controlling my behavior, that it would keep me safe. And we know that that's false security now. Uh, and they did what they thought, and they said what they thought, and they raised us how they thought uh, was really just trying to keep us alive, just trying to uh, make sure that we live long and prosper in a world where it didn't appear to be safe for people of color. And so we fast forward back to today, to this morning, to this moment, to this hour. And we have a new level of safety. We have a new recognition. We have a new place where we can trust. As Dove always say, trust will settle every problem. I can trust in something bigger than government. I can trust in something bigger than all the things that I can manipulate and control. I can trust when I say I am not a body. I am still, I'm still, I remain as God created me. And this body has nothing to do with it. I'm safe. I existed before the body. I exist after the body. Love never ends. And it gives a new meaning to love never fails. Not this human efforts in activity of love, but love, which is God, God, which is love, never fails. And the body can fail. It can go back to the dirt from whence it came, but I'm safe. I'm safe. Bodies don't have to remember me. Bodies don't have to remember what I said. Bodies don't have to remember what I taught. Bodies don't have to honor me. Bodies don't even have to respect me. I'm safe. I am still, I remain as God created me, his beloved creation in whom he is well pleased. No matter what I misspoke, no matter how I misstated, no matter what my deeds or action were, good, bad, or indifferent. That's the power of I am not a body. I am free. Born free as the wind blows. I am free. I remain spirit. I remain love. No matter what the story, I let go of the story of the body of Regis and I allow the glory. I am still as God created me. Yes or yes. There is nothing my holiness, my status cannot do. My holiness is the fact that I am created and made in the image of God. I am the source. I'm not a ripple in the ocean. I am the ocean. No matter how many distinctions and separations I think I see, no matter what the story, no matter what the panic button, no matter what the trigger, I am. I was sharing yesterday that I watched, uh, I don't know when I have been as angry. Uh, I mean, just madness. And, you know, yeah, the guy that says if you're mad, you've been had. but I just watched it. I watched a few weeks back myself just be raging mad. And I didn't try to chase it away. And I never one moment didn't feel like I am the son he loves. God is not offended by our fear, our anger, our judgments of right doing and wrong doing. And I just watched the anger. I let myself be. I didn't try to snuff the anger. I didn't try to say I shouldn't be angry. I just let it ride out. Just let it ride without judgment, without judging myself as a bad Christian, a poor Course in Miracles student, or uh, just with no judgment. And when I came out of it, as I came out of it and coming out of it, it's just a new level of compassion for people who are angry. So when I look at Harris supporters or Trump supporters that are just angry and fearful, there's a compassion because I know how miserable anger makes you. Maybe I had forgotten. Maybe I had forgotten and maybe even, was being a little cavalier and jokingly about other people's anger and upset and fear because it's just a byproduct of fear. But realizing, wow, 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 they waking up every day and feeling like this. That's heavy. And it's one thing to say, either something is a call for love, or it's a call for love. But to really take a pause and to have empathy, true empathy, of the pain and the suffering uh, that my neighbor, my brother might be in, who's displaying what we call rage or anger, to actually really step back and hold space for them in my heart, and to really in my heart say, I don't want them to feel that way. I don't want them to be afraid like that. That above all else, I want peace for them. And then I can say, Shalom, my brother. Peace to you. Peace unto you. Your position may be a threat to even the color of my skin or my financial status, you know, the middle income, the poor. Your position may be uh, a threat to even my voting power. Or I may be a woman, and your position may be a threat to what I think is my body. But I can still have true empathy for your call for love. For you, I can look at what you do and advocate and think is protecting yourself. And I can see beyond how you think you are protecting yourself, how my grandmother thought she was protecting me, and feel and want them to have peace, the peace that I experience, the love that I experience, the safety that I experience. Safety is our birthright. And we all have a right to feel safe. We all want each other to see that we are safe. Above all else, I want to see. So above all else, I want my brother to see that I'm safe. And a lot of times I go into environments where people just don't feel safe. And the fact that I feel safe, it helps them to feel safer. They begin to recognize that they are safe too. When we say everybody loves Regis, people begin to believe, well, everybody loves me too. It's the recognition that, wait a minute, you know, I'm not so deplorable, that I'm worthy of love and I am loved. And as A Course in Miracles teaches us, we're not discovering love. We're just removing the blocks to love. We're not trying to define or redefine love. We're just removing the blocks. And so, Karen, thank you. That is beautiful. You know, I love all those colors and emojis. So, with that, Lynn Johnson, the mic is all yours. How long did I talk?
Oh my gosh, I guess you talked long enough. Oh, thank you so much, Regis. It is so wonderful to see you, to hear you, to be here with you. I love you, brother, and you know I'm always here for you. So, all right, I'm gonna shut off this YouTube.